You're listening to Mississippi Ghost and Cryptids podcast, where we discuss all things paranormal.
Howdy, howdy. Happy Tuesday.
The music's not even done yet. Talk about premature.
No, I'm just jumping right in. I'm so excited about this topic.
Premature emasculation.
No, I can talk over music. It's fine. We're supposed to have music playing right now anyway.
Yeah, we are. What happened to all that? Oh, it's so sad.
Oh.
There. Now we're going to talk about Terry's topip.
I didn't have to introduce it. He did it all on his
Yep.
own. Happy Taco Tuesday.
Because you talked over his
this
shit
is gonna
already.
be a nice little surprise.
Do not be upset because I did one thing you didn't do.
No, we act professional when we wait for the music to stop and then announce the show.
And the thing is, if I do, then you're like, why'd you
By
wait
the way-
so
Why'd you wait
long?
so long? Why'd
By the
you do it so normal?
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
yeah. By the way, Happy Taco Tuesday.
I already said that. It was a day late. I was short.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Wow.
Go back and listen to it.
All I heard was...
I'll go back and listen to it.
Maybe I was trying to listen to the music.
I'll
But
do it next week.
So, we had couple episodes on UFOs and aliens and that type of thing.
Right, about classifications.
Now we're
that
going
are-
back
Right.
my way, but I don't think this is going to be quite my...
Now,
Mhm.
okay, so
watch your words.
I have a... Yeah. I've started to lean another way regarding ghost
Mhm.
in beings after death and all that kind of thing. Okay.
Okay.
As you all know, I really don't believe in ghosts.
Right.
In the definition of ghost. So, is it possible, doing some more of the checking on that guy's site,
Mhm.
is it possible that when we are doing our investigations, we generally have high EMF,
Mhm.
which is electrical magnetic field.
Electromagnetic, yeah.
When we have that, we generally have some type of interaction or EVPs.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Is it possible, because that field's being generated, that it's not necessarily a ghost, but possibly a being? Now, a
Go,
being
you gotta open up
from
wide for this, Chris.
Here we
an
go.
alternate dimension.
Right.
So, is it possible that field is either an enhanced field way of communicating, or it's also like a tear in our reality to where we're kind of interfacing with another reality and it's kind of hearing us, but we're kind of hearing them and we're kind of having a conversation. It's not really a ghost.
Okay. You want my response on this?
Yep. Go.
Yeah. Hold
You
on. Let me
first.
mute you. Okay, go ahead. See, I was right. So,
Okay. How I'm going to interpret that, because that's a lot in my belief at one time. I do think that after we pass, we do go into a different dimension, but I also believe it is almost parallel with ours, along the same.
okay, so
Time is going to be different, but it's almost like with that tear, they can still come in. We're not talking anything extraterrestrial, which is probably another dimension in itself too. That's a different topic.
Right.
But as far as where spirits and demons and angels and all that shit, all that it lives, where it lives is going to be interdimensional.
So you're talking about, we have the living plane and then we have like a paranormal plane.
we have
They're
our,
going.
we have our plane, and then of course, if we want to expand on this, I think that we have different versions of ourselves on other different planes too. But as far as, for the sake of this conversation, I do think that when we pass in spirit form, yes, we do. That's why we can't get. I couldn't have an hour conversation with a being or a spirit,
Right. And
because they're gonna be coming and going.
And I believe that's true also because that energy source isn't a constant energy source
No.
to allow that communication,
Even if we provided that energy source,
which
like with
we
a REM
have.
pump,
We've had the EM pump.
right? You still can't get solid.
Right.
When I say solid, you can't get lengthy.
And I think because we're
Communication.
If
creating.
you let us use Spirit Box, it would be just
Oh,
fine.
don't even. No.
Just tell us use Spirit Box.
Another name for female anatomy is also called the box. So
Not spiritual though.
it can be very spiritual.
That's more demonic.
Welcome to the OnlyFans page
so-
where we have spirit boxes by the hour.
Well, I think because we are having man-made EM
Mhm.
that would only affect our side of that plane
Right.
and not natural EM, which
Right.
would cross.
Right. And thank God we have companies like Trifield who have actually developed devices a while ago that detect both natural and man-made EMF.
Right.
It depicts the difference. Because to us, we wouldn't know the difference.
No.
When we feel it, we're going to feel it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't
I
know
feel it.
I
And
don't feel it.
you're going to feel the.
Yeah.
You got to replace the batteries.
Solar powered. I thought I was doing pretty damn
Solar
good.
powered. No, you got to plug that into the wall.
She's got a Prius for the. Anyway.
So.
Did you get longer eyelashes?
I did.
Okay.
I can bat them at you and make
So,
it.
I
Make
mean,
it cool.
I keep feeling that wind every time she blinks on the side of my face right here.
That's those. That's that Venus flytrap.
That's what that
Right.
is. Like Eon Flux.
I love Aeon Flux.
But
I do agree with that. I do think that spirits and entities and whatnot are interdimensional. They do have different classifications, as we know, and I think it goes beyond the three that we talk. I really do think. Even we talked about shadow people,
elementals, that whole thing,
right?
Yeah.
Even extraterrestrial. We talked. I think there's probably a form of that as well. So I think that it goes into many different categories, but I think they do very much exist in another dimension that they can enter within certain tears or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think they have limitations, even down to something very basic like residual. And for those who don't know residual, it's basically not an actual being. It's more of like an imprint in time, like a repetitive, like a tape playing over and over again.
Well, and I think that's. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that I think
Well,
that
I think
plays in
that's
that too.
what we found out is like quartz crystal records stuff, wood records stuff, ceramic records stuff. Heck, even
Yeah, it
pottery and
stores
stuff,
that
yeah, stores
electrical
that, yeah,
imprint.
those imprints.
a
So I
clay.
think that's why there.
and like limestone and all
Yeah,
that.
and all that. I think that's why you have the what's that word for it again? You just said
Residual.
Residual. Thank you. The residual
Mhm.
effects that people are having in their
Right.
houses and stuff like that. So I think that's what that's there.
It is, and
And
that-
not so much as it's another dimension or anything like that. It's because those objects have held that memory or that
From a previous time.
right.
right. Well, I could see that too. And we're also talking about. Well, I guess when we're talking about residuals, we're talking about frequencies as well.
Well, that's why I was going. That's why I'm basing kind of my theory off of now is because now we've heard that they've received those radio signals from outer space
Mhm.
Right.
at a certain frequency.
right.
We
Yeah,
deal
that
with
was-
a lot of the frequent.
That was very
Mm.
recent.
Yeah,
was that
and
too.
we deal with a lot of frequency stuff
In
also
fact,
with our.
There's actually a live stream
of that.
of that site,
Of
which I
them.
can't remember how to get to it now, but
Right.
there's a live stream of that, and then of course you can go back and listen to the recording.
Right.
Mhm.
It actually you actually hear the tones,
Yes,
but
So why do
So-
you think it's tone based and not?
because tone is frequency.
Well, I know, blah blah blah. But I mean, is it because it goes faster? Would go faster. A tone would be able to be sent faster than an actual.
No, it's just easier for us to detect. See, frequencies, everything's vibrating right
Right.
now, right?
on its
Every-
own frequency. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you lower your chair? Your legs are resting on the desk.
I'm sorry. I gotta turn her.
Okay,
I'm gonna sit here and grab this chair table a little harder. Anyway.
Well, I think it's easier to detect and capture that than it would be light signal or
Right.
so, because the telescopes capture light
Right.
And
Essentially.
and light is a frequency.
and light,
Right,
yeah, it's generated
Yeah.
on its own frequency. So,
Colors,
well, and
textures,
there's also
brightness.
been studies of, I don't want to call, I don't know if they're Egyptian or maybe, I don't know, past civilizations using sound waves to
Right.
move objects.
Right. Yep. With the cones.
So
and
yeah, so it's the
Yeah.
whole vibrating and getting on the right frequency in order for that stone to react and this and that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why I was kind of just thinking, we sitting down and instead of saying, okay, is this Uncle Bob?
Who are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possibly could be somebody kind of going back towards I agree with you in a way on another plane
Mhm.
that they're actually living in this plane
Mhm.
and somehow, some reason why this communication just opened up for that short 15, 20 minutes while the EM was there.
Yeah, that's
And
why-
they actually
Yeah,
hear us
Right.
and maybe they're thinking the same thing on their end. It's like, well,
Right.
who's this person I'm
Yeah.
talking
Right.
to?
Right.
Or maybe they're tied to, they're in their dimension, but they're also tied to coming into ours. Like they don't necessarily have a choice. And when we try to contact them, they're almost,
Pulled here.
yeah, they're almost put, like we summon them
Mhm.
in a weird way. Like I'm not talking Ouija board.
Well, I was
or
going to say,
No,
well,
no.
that's they all say that the name has it through different theories with that with summoning and all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Your personal name holds a lot of energy for you.
Good, because like 5 million people have my name.
Mine too. But anyways, long story short, but like for like summoning demons and stuff like
Uh-huh.
this, or to get rid of demons and stuff like that, it's you have to.
Beetlejuice.
I know.
Beetlejuice.
Don't say it a third time. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. But
No, you're right, and that's why a lot of exorcisms and whatnot,
mhm.
when you have an actual demonic force, which is super extremely rare, by the way, comes into play, the demon will not give its voice.
Well,
Or
and
voice
Or
name,
name.
because that gives it power.
and maybe it's possibly not a demon per se. It could just be an evil person on that other plane.
And that's what I mean. It could be. Now, I think
Now,
I
if you-
think
but
a
if-
true demonic is. I think it's going to be pretty evident. I don't think it's going to be like, oh God, my cabinet door opened and closed. It's demonic. No. Get the hell out of here. No.
yeah. Well, you know, we've got call on that stuff. So
Well, we have, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm starting to think of a whole new thing that it's possibly not per se a ghost.
right. Well, and the thing is too. I mean, other dimensions and stuff like that would. Shut up, Molly. I'm gonna shut up now. Have blah, 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 blah.
Music even cut out for you too.
I'm
It
not
was waiting.
shutting
Yeah,
up.
it was waiting. It was like she
waiting.
chalked over me the last time. I better wait till she.
Okay, it's like so anyway, with all the dimensions and stuff like that, there's different parts of our bodies that supposedly through astral projection and all this stuff that we can actually go and through meditation and stuff like that we
Like
can
your
actually
third,
go
your
and
third
go,
eye, right?
right
Yeah.
to go visit. So what's to say that once we become spirit, you're
Well, see,
you're
that's-
not.
That's me. I don't know if we necessarily go spirit
Well, I was gonna say spirit's just a form of saying,
ghost,
"Yep."
Ghost is a very broad term, right?
and that's what I'm saying.
mean,
I don't
it's
think
kinda like
it's ghost.
saying,
I think it's actually other currently living beings
mhm,
on another
Right.
plane
Mhm.
or another realm or something, but we just happen to have that break in time where we're able to interact with one another
Yeah.
for someone, because we've had several occasions where we've been to investigation and nothing's happened.
a lot of
Okay.
times.
And going back to what you were stating about, doors opening, is that possibly vibrations from sound waves
Right.
generated from that just happened to open that? A pulsating wave, open
Right.
and close the door. Maybe that was, unfortunately, that might have been its path to cross over was through that kitchen.
Yeah. I was gonna say that at that time
Yeah.
because
And we can't detect that. I don't know if we have the tools to say, oh,
No.
wow, we've got
well, my
vibrating.
thing too is if we had the tools there and it was sitting there and there was just an EMF flux right there,
Yeah,
we're
one
not.
pulse.
It just don't want. I mean, you're not going to sit there and say, "Well, it didn't do it again." So because
Well,
we look for double
See,
verification.
I think would be awesome
like that
is
too, so.
through technology. If we come out, okay, when we do cameras, we have a typical any Lux light camera, meaning you can record in
Yeah,
daylight.
pretty much zero
Yeah.
to any.
We have,
Yeah.
we have a night vision camera. It can pick up in full spectrum, which is
Mhm.
even deeper in color, and then we have thermal,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
not really a picture; it's the detection of heat. What I think
Yeah, it's
would be-
radiation.
What I think would be absolutely phenomenal is basically a camera that measures EMF. So you're seeing things in basically a radion vibration,
Like a waveform.
like a waveform. So you're seeing
Recorder.
that could be kind of crazy on the eyes, but
Mhm.
you would see everything in its vibration form.
Yeah.
And I think in that case, if you had something like that and with a fisheye
Oh wow.
in a room,
Yeah.
you could, oh my God, the things you could pick up with that.
But going back to our training,
Mm-hmm.
we've been told
Mm-hmm.
just by doing research and all this and that from
Right.
other paranormal groups is EMF means
Well, I mean, but because supposedly spirit is made from, but our
R-
bodies have electricity, and once
That's
that
what I'm saying.
form is gone,
that exactly. And I agree.
Yeah.
I used to, that was 100%. That's what I agreed.
Yeah.
But now looking into as more of this research
Right.
comes out, is it possibly not another entity,
Right.
a dead entity causing that?
Well, I believe.
Is
yeah, I
it
was gonna
a
say
natural EMF and we just happen to at that time be able to hear another realm?
Well, my thing
Another,
is, what if there's
Mhm.
both?
if there is a ghost
and the other entities.
I mean, well, for one, you're speaking of one alternate dimension. That's not to say that there aren't hundreds, if not thousands, of other dimensions.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like some of the EVPs we've gotten where
Yeah.
we
They
just
didn't have
don't,
anything to do with what we were.
yeah,
where
or
were
we
at.
just can't understand what they're trying to say.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
possibly their own language,
I
Yeah.
guess
and we just picked it up.
it could
Right.
be. I mean, I guess in this field, we would have to, if we knew that the person of deceased, and we were contacting them and we were getting responses, and when I mean
with direct
direct
question.
we
Yeah.
could
Correct.
probably say that probably is that person.
Mhm.
And
Now, and then that would bring up a whole nother theory on my side. Okay, the person's current body form here is no longer available.
right.
Right.
Are they in a actual living form in another plane? like you were saying.
See, like you go.
It's not a
into-
reincarnation.
No, I mean,
It's
Well-
are we communicating with that particular person but in another realm and they're living?
Well, this goes back to my theory how when we die, our flesh and blood vessel, right? We still exist.
Yes.
When they say soul and spirit, conscience, whatever belief you have in mind, that's us. That's our personality. That's how we think. That's what we know. So we take that when we die, and all of this other shit just
Right.
decomposes. So,
Right.
So in another dimension, whether we're in a body form or not, we're still that. We didn't actually die full on. We just died.
Your conscience.
We died organically.
Organic,
Your
right.
conscience is, or
Our
consciousness
conscience still
is- yeah,
exists.
your conscience
Somewhere
exists.
else in
So-
another plane.
So that's what I was
Right.
saying, like spirit, consciousness, whatever you want to call that being.
Mhm.
Not
But is it possible that we are talking with? So
I'm dead.
you're dead.
Chris is dead.
Bobby and
Is it
I are
dead?
investigating. It's like, okay, why didn't you show up for a podcast?
That's
I
why you
am
didn't
here.
do your
What the
homework.
hell? Sit
Yeah.
right here.
Chris,
Yeah.
and then
And I was talking to Mike very.
Chris over on this plane hears us
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and says, "I'm right here, but I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah.
about." Is that a
But you-
possibility instead of your consciousness, your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and energy floating somewhere else, waiting to? I don't know if it waits to become a flesh-born entity
Well,
again.
That's one of those things I think we'll find out after we, take the big ol'.
Well, and
Yeah.
that, and, that,
Woo-ha.
and that too is like for people that have been in, say, or that are having surgery and stuff like that, and they said, "I left my body and I was able to see
the out of body, right?
yeah everything that
My-
happened."
My
you know,
cousin
yeah.
actually, he has since passed away now, but
Sorry.
he flatlined.
Mhm.
It's been almost 10 years. No, it's been almost 20 years. Holy crap!
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 18 years. Anyway, he basically had an out of body experience,
Mhm.
and he was very down to earth.
Mhm.
Very down to earth. He would have never told me something like that. Like he knew I was like creepy and whatnot, but he would have never made anything like this up, But he told me that, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" He goes, "No, I remember a conversation the doctors were having when they were trying to resuscitate me
Wow.
and all this. I saw myself, and I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. I was like, "You sure that?" I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, and back then I was like,
Yeah.
"You sure it was a dream or anything?" No. And ever since that day, I was like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
like this is
Yeah.
legit."
Well, then that goes into another episode we can talk about. His dream.
Dreams.
Dream.
Oh yeah.
It's like
for-
how are they?
Are they
They
moist?
seem so real,
'Cause your
are you ju-
subconsciousness.
but are you just viewing yourself in another plane?
And how moist are they?
Some of mine. I'm just gonna say.
I know mine's kind of chalky. Wake up coughing.
Whoa!
You know that dry air down here in Mississippi.
Yeah, the sinuses.
Yeah, the sinus drainage.
Yeah.
It's like baking soda.
More like starch. Anyway, but anyway, that was my whole new theory on maybe
Yeah.
ghosts not being ghosts, but we're actually communicating with another living being,
Mhm.
but on another plane or another realm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that little thing.
I think
Like I
that's.
said,
I think
yeah.
in addition to what I think that's one of many answers of other planes.
Which is a possibility. So
You
it
know.
might when we get back into the whole investigating paranormal
Mhm.
thing again,
Go toward those questions.
or maybe not be as okay. This person is dead. Let's ask questions of, what year it is and then that type of thing.
Because it could still be living.
Because,
well, and that's what the whole thing right there is going to say with
is
that
when
is
the
ones
respectful thing.
that we've always respectful.
We've
because
always did it, right.
We've not wanted to sit there and say, so how'd you die? Who killed you?
Yeah.
But because they didn't know.
Or
So
because
what's
they are like, I don't know
right.
who you are. I'm
Yeah.
right here.
Right. So in that dimension that they're living, do they think, where did everybody just go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. It's because we'll say, hey, we think it might be so-and-so because they passed away, this and this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the information in the household people.
We then in turn say, okay, they said this and this. So we kind of
Right. So
pinpoint our questions to that, but we could unfortunately just be talking at the time of, okay, this, field opens up.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually talking to someone else in another realm,
right,
or another plane,
right,
where it has nothing to do with the person that died,
right,
that family,
and
or even that house.
And going back to a reference too, I know I referenced this. I don't know how many times I referenced because it was one of my favorite movies in the entire world. But The Others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that I don't want to spoil it for anybody if you haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. So just make sure Bobby sends it, then I won't watch it.
You've never seen it. So that the premise of that movie is I don't want to give anything away, but it is definitely interdimensional in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely crossing paths.
Yeah, and
without knowing.
And I'm starting to lean more towards we're living in that type of thing. But we'll get into another episode on that.
Kind of like,
we'll get into another episode on that
right now.
I'm so proud of you, Terry.
So
Lord knows I've tried several times to get there and ain't got there yet. So.
Oh, you ain't there.
I don't say.
Gotta get it done.
All right, y'all. We're going to cut this one.
All right. Thank
and
you.
Think on it. Leave some comments if you have a belief, or if you say no, you guys are totally. Well, Terry, you're totally 100% wrong because you two aren't quite that level as I am yet.
Visit our OnlyFans page.
Terry.com.
/Bobby.
Backslap Bobby. Anyway.
I love you guys.
Bye.
And remember, sometimes the paranormal can still be normal.
Follow MGC Podcast on Facebook and YouTube.